Hello everyone, my name is Brittany Baldrica, and today I'm going to be discussing the management recommendation for sustained populations of the Chinook salmon. The Chinook salmon is the largest species of the Pacific salmon, and they are primarily targeted by recreational and commercial fisheries. Management agencies such as NOAA Fisheries manage commercial, recreational, and tribal harvests of the Chinook salmon. However, additional conservation and management recommendations are listed in this presentation. They inhabit ranges within North America, specifically the Pacific Northwest, between Point Hope, Alaska, and Ventura River, California, including the Columbia River and the Sacramento River. In image 2, you can see the blue shaded area, and this is designating the region within North America that the Chinook salmon are found. The Chinook salmon are blue-green in color and on the back and top of their head, and they have silver sides and white bellies. They also have black spots on the upper half of their bodies and on both lobes of the tail fins. They also have black lining around their lips. They're considered an anadromous species, which means that they migrate in between freshwater and saltwater. They spawn and hatch in freshwater, and they feed and grow in saltwater. They average around 3 feet and 30 pounds, and they mature between 2 and 7 years of age. They reproduce only once in their lifetime, and both the male and the female die shortly after spawning. There are several stocks of Chinook salmon, and all stocks are in need of conservation and recovery efforts. Each stock has a different conservation status, which we'll talk a little bit about later. Specifically in California, the Pacific Northwest, and Alaska, some stocks are declining and some stocks are increasing. In Alaska, they do several different research studies, monitoring catch counts and escapement from fisheries, and comparing current returns to spawning grounds from previous years in order to manage abundance of the fishery. Collaborative effort between NOAA Fisheries and state, federal, tribal, and Canadian officials manage the commercial, recreational, and tribal harvests of the Chinook salmon. During the 70s and 80s, the Chinook salmon were overfished by gillnet fisheries. Several populations have since been listed under the ESA. In 1999, the lower Columbia River Chinook salmon were listed under the ESA, which resulted in harvesting impacts, reducing them from 80% to 37%. In figures 1 and 2, these demonstrate trends in abundance compared to trends in fishery catches from the Salish seas. So in figure 1, we can see the total abundance of Chinook salmon in the Salish Sea, as showing that there was a reduction of 60% between 1984 and 2018. And figure 2 shows the decline of salmon caught during this time. So you can see there is a general trend between abundance as well as fish caught. All stocks of Chinook salmon populations should be maintained under their current level of protection. The 2 stocks, which are listed as endangered, and the 7 stocks listed as threatened should remain under their respective levels of protection. They face several threats, including freshwater logging practices, dam construction, and habitat degradation. Given these threats, management actions should be taken to protect critical juvenile habitats to ensure population growth. It's important to recognize critical habitats for the conservation and management of endangered species, especially for ones such as the Chinook salmon, which migrate. There was a study in California that showed that juveniles utilized natal rearing habitats as well as non-natal rearing habitats, and the fish that reared in non-natal rearing habitats actually had faster growth rates. So basically what this means is these fish are utilizing habitats that we know are rearing habitats as well as non-rearing habitats that were not recently documented. So this indicates additional habitats that need management. It's important to estimate the amount of juvenile rearing in non-natal habitats and the duration of time spent in these habitats to determine the importance of these habitats to the population as a whole. Future research is needed to manage juvenile habitats for sustained populations, as well as to sustain the populations to provide for the human economy. One way future research can help with the sustainability is through hatcheries. The goal for the hatchery program would be to alleviate fish loss due to construction of dams and habitat loss, as well as provide fishing opportunities to those who depend on the fishery. Thank you so much for listening.